Hello, Professor Rudnick. This is Trevor, and today I'm here to discuss the first module assignment. I was assigned Module C for my first one, and that is the conversation and sense making. So within that, I dove in a little further with the communication accommodation theory, and essentially what it does is analyzes how we as humans change our communication based on certain perceptions of the person we're talking to or something like that. So to put it in different terms, we change the way we communicate based on different situations. Every situation is different. So based on the way we want to be perceived to the other person and based on perceptions of that other person, we change the way we communicate. So how this fits into Module C, and more specifically into the communication model that we looked at in week 1. If you look at that model, what we're looking at here is the arrow, the double-sided arrow going between both communicators. That is a constant line of communication and encoding and decoding messages and making sense of it. So essentially that is how it fits into Module C. So digging into the theory a little deeper now, we're going to start off by talking about two main bullet points within the theory, and those two bullet points being ways in which we accommodate our speech when communicating with somebody. So the first one is going to be convergence, and that is adjusting our speech to fit in. The second would be the opposite of that. That is divergence, and that is adjusting our communication to stick out. It is important to note in this theory that we accommodate our speech based on our own perception on the other person or on the communication we're having. So it's just important, you always want to be cautious because the way you perceive something may not be the same as the way someone else's perception is. So just keep that in mind and know that even with the best intentions, accommodating your speech can end in a failure, really. So in a moment here, I'm going to show you guys a video. It is a clip from a very popular sitcom, The Office. You've probably seen it. So you've probably seen this clip before as well.
While we are waiting for our special guest to arrive, I wanted you all to take a look at a few of the many, many disabled icons who have contributed so much to our society.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Why is Tom Hanks on the wall twice?
Good question. Forrest Gump, mentally challenged. Philadelphia, AIDS.
I think that's from Big.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, he's dancing on a piano with Robert Loggia.
He grew into a man overnight. Rare disability, still works. A crossword puzzle, Stanley? Seriously, are you learning nothing here?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean,
I mean, I'm learning nothing.
Okay.
Michael Scott. I'm looking for Michael Scott.
Yes, right in here.
Good.
Come on in.
Great.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is our special guest.
Sorry I'm late. Somebody parked in the handicap parking space. Hey everyone, I'm Billy Merchant. You may have seen me around here before. I'm the properties manager of this office park.
You are so brave. You are so brave.
Thank you. Actually, I've been meaning to come by here for a long time.
But it's hard for you, right? Because you're in a wheelchair.
No, I just have a lot of properties to manage.
Let me ask you something. How long does it take for you to do something simple every day, like brush your teeth in the morning?
I don't know, like 30 seconds?
Oh my God. That's 3 times as long as it takes me. How did you get in your wheelchair?
This morning? Just like every other morning, just climbed on in.
Hey, not funny, not funny.
Hey, relax. Just joking around here.
Well, that's good. He still has a sense of humor.
Listen, I've actually used a chair since I was 4 years old. I don't really notice it anymore.
Well, they do. They notice it, don't you? You notice it. It's the first thing you saw when he rolled in here, isn't it?
I want to clamp Michael's face in a George Foreman grill.
So there are just a couple things I want to remind everybody of.
Okay.
First is parking. You can't block the freight entrance with your car, even if your blinkers are on. Does anybody have any questions? Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Dwight, you have your hand up.
Ignore him. You know what? We're not that different, you and I. When I clamped my foot into a nonstick
You know what,
grill-
Michael?
Yeah,
Let me stop you right there
okay.
and leave.
Okay, kind of hard to watch, I know. So, the first example that comes up is at 1 minute 11 seconds, and this is when Michael Scott tells Billy Merchant he's brave for simply managing some properties just because he's in a wheelchair. So I should point out, if you haven't seen the show, Michael Scott is the manager of the office. He's the one with the crutches. He burned his foot. And Billy Merchant is the property manager who comes in to speak, who is in the wheelchair. So the second example comes in just moments after that, when Michael blurts out that it must be hard for him because he's in a wheelchair. So this shows that Michael is clearly trying to relate his burnt foot to the wheelchair, which clearly is pushing it a little too far. He's accommodating too much. So next up, just seconds later after that, Michael asks Billy how long it takes him to brush his teeth, to do something simple, just like brushing your teeth. Billy answers him with just 30 seconds, and Michael scowls and says that he does it in 10. It takes him 3 times as long just because he's in a wheelchair. Again, over-accommodating, way further than he has to in this situation. So they just keep piling up at this point. Michael goes on to scold his employees after Billy makes a joke regarding his wheelchair. Then he again tries to sympathize with Billy by calling out his employees for Billy being in a wheelchair, the first thing they noticed as they walked in that morning. And so the final tipping point comes at 2:25 when Michael tries to compare his burnt foot to whatever Billy's situation is that put him in this wheelchair. So he's trying to make common ground between them. He's trying to accommodate for Billy's disability here, and this pushes him over the edge too much. And as you see in the video clip, he just decides to get up and leave. So another thing to kind of take a look at in this video clip is notice that the coworkers in the office are they're aware of how bad this meeting is going, and they kind of understand that he's trying to accommodate a little too much to make this guy feel safe or whatever at home or whatever it may be, or maybe he's just trying to draw attention to himself, which is normally the case. So it's cool to see that the perception of them is also brought out in this scene, because they're shaking their head, their hand is in their head. They know that this is going poorly. So that'll wrap it up for my first module on conversation and sense making. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.